You're an engineer. You understand technology better than most generals who've been chief so far, just by virtue of your upbringing and your background. And I wonder how difficult it has been for you to transform the armed forces, given that this is thinking that's built in the DNA of the Indian armed forces, which is an infantry first, artillery, armored corps kind of thinking, to now having a more engineer first, no longer a support arm, but essentially the arm that could potentially decide the outcome on the battlefield.
Since you mentioned of transformation, let me spend some time on as to how I visualize transformation taking place. Transformation, largely, the way we look at it is to enable us to become a more modern, more agile, more battle-ready force to be able to meet our future challenges in a more effective manner. Largely, the purpose of the transformation that we are looking at is to increase our operational efficiencies and enhance operational effectiveness. And this transcends also into functional and administrative domains. I'm looking at transformation in 5 key areas, and the first one is force optimization and restructuring, wherein we are looking at the legacy establishments, legacy institutes, some of which may have lost relevance in the present day situation, to right size them so as to optimize manpower, get our tooth to tail ratio right. The second, of course, pillar is the modernization and technology infusion. The third, and perhaps equally important, is the human resource management about the Agnipath scheme, and of which maybe we can talk later. Fourth is the jointness and integration. And fifth is further refining, modifying our systems, processes, and functions. So these are the 5 key domains where we are looking at as to how transformation must take place. We have identified key deliverables, prepared a roadmap, laid down responsibilities. And while we are transforming, we are fully cognizant of the fact, considering our active borders, we can't let the guard down. So the operational readiness or preparedness has to continue to remain of a very high level while all this is happening.
We've seen in Russia and China, to some extent in Pakistan, they just bring the best tech minds, young, fresh tech minds, not necessarily trained at the National Defense Academy or the IMA, but young, bright tech minds to help and play a role in cyber warfare. We don't do this at scale. We do it in bits and drabs, but we don't do it at scale. Is that something that you hope to push through, bring in young technologists and have them play a role in national security, especially in cyber warfare?
No, absolutely. And one of the things that we are looking at is in the niche domains where you take a long time to train and become an expert, such as cyber or even, let us say, Mandarin language. We are looking at recruiting young, bright boys and girls into the army. We have made a beginning by recruiting them in the territorial army. We have started with Mandarin-speaking officers who are coming in, and subsequently we will graduate towards those who are experts in the cyber domain and the rest. At the soldier level, our aim is through the Agnipath scheme, try and get in as many technical, youth, technologically adept youth, who are either ITI qualified or have been through the Polytechnic. So the overall threshold in understanding on technical issues of our soldier enhances. So that has been one of our key areas.
One of your KRAs is to implement the Agniveer scheme. We saw a lot of backlash on the streets from the opposition when the scheme was first announced. How has the implementation been so far, and to what extent do you believe, sir, this will help cut the flab of the Indian Army and make it a more lean, mean fighting machine?
Let me start by saying, even at the cost of repetition, I think this is a transformational reform which has brought about a paradigm shift in the way our human resource management was taking place. I would not go into the benefits of the scheme because I think it has been discussed and talked about at length. But I think it is a win-win situation, not only for us as the military, but also for the society and the country at large. But what I believe is getting the implementation right is the key, and that is what currently we are focusing on. As you are aware, the first 2 batch of Agniveers have already started their training at the respective regimental centers. In the next batch, we have even modified our intake, wherein we will now have a combined entrance exam, online exam first, and the medical and the physical later. Uh, so the Agniveer, the initial feedback, what I get from the regimental centers is the youth who have come up are very enthusiastic, energetic. There is a lot of positivity. So I think that's a very good sign. But as we go forward, there are 5, 6 issues which we need to be very cognizant of. The initial training of the recruits, since we have compressed the time frame, that is very critical, and that is where again we are bringing in simulators and other technological means to account for this compressing in time. Secondly, we have to make sure that when the Agniveers join our units, combat units, their assimilation and integration and acceptance into the system happens well. And that is where I think the role of junior leaders, right from a JCO up to a company commander, battalion commander, that comes in well. Most importantly, since it's a new scheme, it's a unique scheme, we have to constantly keep our ear to the ground so that we have a mechanism of feedback, and we will bring about any positive, constructive changes, modification to the scheme to make it happen.